Welcome to Homemaking with Mima. My name is Wendy, and today's project is I have some things that I just want to get out of my freezer, and I have enough to create some freezer breakfasts, and I'm going to bring you in just a little bit closer to see what I'm going to try and use up. Okay, so of course eggs. I have some cooked up bacon here. I have some green peppers, assorted peppers that I need to use up. I have a little bit of tomato. I'm just gonna chop that up too. I have 2 partial, like quarter bags of tater tots, some hash browns I need to use up, a few little English muffins. I have 3 chubs of pork sausage. I don't need to use that up, but that is what I'm going to use to help create some of these. I have some tortillas, flour tortillas, cheese slices for any sandwiches that I make. And I have some mozzarella cheese I'd like to incorporate, some cheddar cheese, and I didn't know if I'd have enough. And so I've got a small little bag of cheddar cheese as well. So let's see what I can get created here. So I combined the assorted peppers with some onion, and I put a little bit of bacon drippings in there, and I'm going to saute them up till they get soft. And I have 2 chubs of the sausage on the stove. Gonna cook that down and go from there. So I took the 2 partial packs of tater tots, and I'm gonna cook them up some in the oven, probably for about, I don't know, 10 minutes. And then I'm just gonna set them here on the table until they cool some before I make the egg mixture to go in it. I'm gonna make like an egg bake, and it's gonna have potatoes in it. It's gonna have tater tots, but they're potatoes. So the sausage is cooking down, and so are the peppers and onions. And I'm going to probably drain some of that liquid out of there because vegetables have moisture in them. So I will be draining some of that liquid out before I put it in with my egg bakes. So I've mixed up 8 eggs. I didn't put anything in with them. And I'm going to cook them in this longer, more square pan. And I'm going to use these eggs for the sandwiches. We'll see how many I can get out of there. Okay, so I have the tater tots. I'm going to have them in there for about 10 minutes, and I'm not quite sure how long to cook the eggs for, but I'm just going to keep an eye on them. Okay, so I have 4 eggs in each one of these bowls, and I scrambled them really good with the hand mixer. And I took those 2 slices of tomato that I had left. I had 2 slices of romaine tomato, and I just diced them up and I put them in with the eggs. And here is the assorted peppers with the onions, and I'm going to take just a few scoops with a spoon. We'll start out with 1 each. A good heaping tablespoon, if I can make it there. And we'll mix that up and we'll see how that looks. I'm going to put probably about a half another spoon full into each one. Vegetables are not going to hurt you. Plus, I'm going to have cooked sausage in here as well. That's why I'm not really putting any seasoning in with it, because the sausage is seasoned really well. Okay, so the tater tots just came out of the oven, and I'm going to take a good scoop of the sausage and just kind of sprinkle it all over it as I'm spilling some. Maybe 2 scoops. That out of the way. I'm going to put down some mozzarella cheese. I don't have any plans for this at all, so why not use what you have? I do have cheddar cheese. I'm going to put that on the top of it all. These are just going to be potato egg bakes. I'm going to bake them today. And then I'm going to cut them up and I'm going to put them into containers so that if we want a quick breakfast, it's already going to be cooked. We just need to warm it up and eat it. It doesn't matter if you squish down the potatoes at all. I'm just using what I have. Instead of, I don't have the O'Brien potatoes, but I had these to use up and I am going to use them. And I've done this before and it's worked out great. I did it exactly the same way. I'm going to top it with some cheddar. And I'm going to put them back into the oven. And I have my oven set at 350. And I'm going to start out with 10 minutes and then I'm going to check it from there. I never wrote any of this down, so I don't remember what my times were. But I'm going to try my hardest to keep track of it for this time. While I'm waiting for the egg bakes to finish cooking, you can see my disaster. Dirty dishes, trying to get the eggs cracked. I just crack them over here and then I take them to the other counter and get them scrambled up. I want to make a few burritos, breakfast burritos as well. And so now I'm going to go mix these up. To help with scrambling these up really, really well, poke the yolks with a fork. I mean, you don't have to, but I do. And then I just really, really good. That should be it for me getting the all the eggs finished. I have the eggs in there for sandwiches still cooking, still not done yet, and I have the egg bakes in there as well. So I just took out the pan. The timer had gone off, so they cooked for approximately 15 minutes. Maybe I overcooked them, but they're done. They're hot. So I'm going to let these completely cool before I cut into them to make them sandwich size. Okay, so the timer's going off for 10 minutes for that egg bake. So we're going to pull them out and check them. I'm going to pull them both out. So I've just got a clean butter knife. Just going to go into the center. I'm going to go another 3 minutes. Okay, so the timer has gone off for the egg bake. So I'm going to bring them over here and we're going to let them completely cool as well. And they'll continue cooking if there is any raw spots in them. They'll continue cooking while they're cooling off. That's the one thing about when you're putting things in the oven. So now I'm going to take the rest of these hash browns. They've been sitting out, so they're pretty soft. I use rubber bands sometimes. I'm going to put them in the oven to get them cooked up some. I'm going to spray this parchment good. Going to be ice chunks. That's why I just want to do it in the oven. I don't want to deal with all the water that comes from them. I'm going to spread them out. They needed to be used, obviously, because they had the ice chunks in them. And then I'm just going to season them real quick. I'm just going to use some Lawry seasoned salt. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these yet. But I'm going to put them in the oven and just keep an eye on them until they get golden and crispy. So now I'm going to cook up, I believe that was 3 eggs? 3 or 4, I can't remember. Anyway, I'm just going to cook them on the stove because there isn't that many. I just put a little bit of bacon drippings in there, let that melt, and then I'm going to scramble up those eggs and get that done. I'm just going to scramble up these eggs here. And I have it on, I have numbers on my stove. I have it on a 3. Medium low, I want to say. I just put a little bit of salt in here with it. I didn't put much because we're going to probably put some of that sausage in with this. And that has plenty seasoning. So I'm just going to finish scrambling these up and we'll be back. So I have the scrambled eggs done. I'm just going to mix some of the sausage with it. Let me get well, I'll just use that. I'm going to put some of these assorted peppers and onions in with it. That mixed up. Everything in here is cooked. We'll see how many. I'm going to make flour egg burritos with this. We'll see how many I get out of it. A little bit more sausage, I think. Once this cools, I'll put some cheese in with it too before I get them wrapped. But I want this to cool completely. All right, so we got a lot done. Now we just gotta let these cool, and then I'll be able to start assembling some. I'm gonna get the sausage put away. I have this left over, and we'll easily make this a meal with sausage gravy. I like to eat it over toast. So I'm gonna freeze this up in its own container. So I'm getting ready to toast these English muffins. I like to have them toasted up before I make the breakfast sandwiches. And it just really does work better, especially when you get the Walmart brand English muffins. They're not always so symmetrical as far as their cutting. So use a fork and just put it into where the seam cut is, and then just pull it apart. It should come right apart. Okay, so I started cutting the eggs. These are cooled. I cut 3 strips of them because I kind of took my muffin like that, and I can put 2 pieces of eggs on each muffin. And I know I'm going to have leftover eggs, and I'll figure something out with that. I do have some Pillsbury frozen biscuits. I might even do some biscuit sandwiches. So I'm going to let these English muffins completely cool before I assemble the sandwiches because they still feel just a little bit warm, and I don't want to put the cheese on there with it still being warm. So I'll bring you right back. Okay, so these have cooled some. My table's not that big. So I think what I'm going to do, this is pre-cooked bacon, is because the eggs are so thin, I'm going to put English muffin, slice of the small little thin egg there. Then another slice of the egg. And then I'm going to get out some cheese and put some cheese on that as well. I decided I wanted to put one more piece of bacon on there. Let's not be stingy. We're not going to be like, you know, that famous M with their sandwiches. So we got plenty of egg, plenty of bacon. And now we're going to get our cheese. Now the cheese slices are too big. They're going to melt all over. So I always just kind of, I break them into fourths. I don't really want to be stingy with the cheese, but I also don't want it just oozing out and then you got cheese melting all down past your sandwich. And there, and this one I'll eat this one. Won't let that go to waste. And this little Kraft cheese slicer holder, I'm telling you, I've never seen them before. I found it at the thrift store. Another find at the thrift store. Isn't that awesome? I love it. It fits I believe it's a 24 count of the cheese slices. I love it. Okay, so I have a container here for the leftover egg. And like I said, I have some Pillsbury frozen biscuits. And it's too much for me to do today. But I may continue this tomorrow and then just merge the videos together. That's what I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to put the egg in the refrigerator, get rid of this, and then I'm going to wrap up the English muffins. And I got these parchment sheets. I know they're kind of big. I got them at the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to wrap them in that and just take a little piece of masking tape and make sure that they hold. Okay, let's see if I can get this done decent. Now I'm just going to put one little piece of masking tape, and that's not going to hold. Okay. I'm going to keep bringing you along here with me. I think I'm going to put this upside down. Do the same thing. Kind of fold the ends in like a present. Hold it over and just let it sit. Hopefully it'll stay, and then I'll put it into Ziploc bags so it'll hold. These aren't going to last long. I'm pretty sure my husband is going to take these for quick breakfasts in the morning. they turned out to be pretty good. Look at that. Now, yes, he's going to have to microwave it, and it might make the egg a little bit more rubbier, more rubber, but it's not any different than what you get at the Big M. And you get a lot more in a homemade one because you made it yourself and you were able to control what you had in it and you were able to put more in it. All right, so I got 3 bacon, egg, and cheese English muffins. And I'm waiting for the hash browns because I think I'm going to do hash browns with these burritos. And to make them more filling. So what I've decided to do, since I know he's going to eat these up right away, is I'm just going to put them into a sandwich size baggie to protect them a little bit more and put them in the refrigerator. But if I were doing a lot more than these, I would put them in a gallon size bag and get as many as I could in there to help hold them together. But like I said, I know these are going to get eaten up right away. So now I'm going to get this cut, these egg bakes, and they turned out really nice. I'm going to get them cut and I'm going to get them into containers, and then my husband can or myself, we can put them into a microwave safe glass container, microwave it, heat it up, and eat it for a breakfast or even like a supper. Turned out really good. Looks like I can get about 2 into each one, so we're going to have a lot. I might just freeze that other one whole. So then I don't have all these little containers in my freezer. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I guess this is going to be my lunch. So I'm going to heat this up and I'll give it a taste test for you. Okay, so I microwaved this for 30, well, it was still kind of warm. Microwaved it for 30 seconds and it's steamy. That looks so good. Hope you can see that. And there's the cheese melty. I think I'm going to let it cool off some before I take a bite. I don't want to burn the roof of my mouth. So I'm going to let this cool off and then I'll take a bite for you. Okay, so it has cooled down quite a bit. And it looks really good. Still got some steam coming off of it. That is so good. And so flavorful with the assorted peppers and the onions and the pork sausage. It's so good. Turned out great. Okay. So what I did was I took my egg mixture, mixed it with the hash browns, used up the rest of the cheddar cheese that I had, threw in a good handful of mozzarella cheese because I just want to use that up. And I threw in a spoonful of my Mrs. Wage's salsa that I had made that was in the refrigerator. So, and then I microwaved my tortillas for about 20 seconds just to make them more pliable so they don't tear, hopefully. I put on a rubber glove because I am assuming I'm going to be using my hands here. Now these are going to be small breakfast burritos because that's the size of tortilla that we have. So I went and I got these containers. So I think they'll work out good for me to get these small little things in here. All right, I'm going to continue doing this until I get them all done. Okay, so I've got day one of making breakfast meals for the freezer for my husband and I. I made 2 egg bakes this size. This one I'm going to freeze whole. The other one I cut up and put into 2 portions per container. And so this is all going to go into the freezer. I'm going to put saran wrap on that and then the lid that comes with it and then label it. I got 3 English muffins because that's all that I had left. And the English muffins are a bacon, egg, and cheese English muffin. Very hearty. And then I used up the tortillas that I had in my refrigerator that needed to be used. And I made these small little breakfast burritos. And what was in them was some egg, sausage, the assorted peppers that I had, onion, and then I used up the rest of those hash browns that I had wanted to get used up that have been sitting in there for a while. And this is the leftover. And I'm all out of tortillas, so I'm going to finish this off for my lunch today. So tomorrow I plan on making another breakfast sandwich, which is going to consist of biscuit, sausage, egg, and cheese. And I have all that on hand. I ran out of time today to do it. So like I said, it's going to be tomorrow for me, but a few seconds for you. Okay, so it is the next day, and I am going to make another freezer breakfast. I have that other pork sausage that I had out. It's completely thawed. I'm going to fry them up into patties. And I also have some leftover bacon, and I have the cooked eggs that I had. And I guess I didn't have Pillsbury biscuits. I had the Greater Value biscuits. But you know what? We all make those kind of mistakes. But I'm okay with it. It was probably cheaper. That's why I bought it. So I'm going to get the biscuits in the oven. I'm going to bake them, and then I am going to cook up the sausage into sausage patties. I'm just going to cook this sausage on the stovetop. Because it's pork sausage, I'm not going to put any oil in there because it should make its own fat. One thing I've learned, sausage is sticky. So if you get a little bit of water, wet your hands a little bit, you should be able to form it into a patty a lot better. I'm just going to pre-cut this a little bit. I might have some left over. No, that's okay. So again, I'm going to wet my hands a little bit. See how it doesn't stick? If I didn't do that, it would stick. I'm not going to season these at all. I'm just going to fry them up as they are. And we're going to use these patties for those breakfast sandwiches. Okay, so the sausage is done. So I'm just gonna put it on a pan with a paper towel. Let it drain good, let it cool off before I make the actual sandwiches. There. Okay, so I cooked the biscuits according to the directions on the package, and it was pretty much spot on for those greater value biscuits. And so now I'm gonna let everything cool. I've got the sausage that needs to continue cooling, and the biscuits definitely need to, and then I'm gonna assemble these sandwiches. Okay, so I am going to assemble these biscuit breakfast sandwiches. Now, these biscuits are extremely delicate, so be extremely careful when you cut them in half. I started to cut them in half, and then I'm like, okay, I have to really be careful. So they're a true biscuit. I also cut my sausages in half because I just felt it was going to be too much, too thick. So, and I cut my egg in half, but we'll deal with that. And then I cut the bacon in half as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of cheese, put it on the bottom. Take my egg, put it there. Take the sausage, then a piece of cheese on top. Now see, that was even just as big as well. Extremely big. Now, the hard part. Wrapping it without damaging it. Because like I said, those biscuits, they are very delicate. I can't push down on it like I did the English muffin. So I do have it wrapped like that. I've got a gallon-sized bag I'm going to grab here, and I'm going to slide it into there, and hopefully I can get this to stay shut so that it can freeze with the protection on it. So what I've decided, I'm still going to do it the same way. Piece of cheese, but I'm just going to take half an egg. Granted, it doesn't cover the whole thing. Maybe I should have cut them a little different. But the sausage is just like perfect for it. Cheese on top. So then it isn't so kittywampus, but it is still a big sandwich. And a lot better than from the Big M. Okay, so we are done with the freezer breakfasts. I made the breakfast biscuit sandwiches, and I have 5 in here. I'm gonna sample one for you. I have a little bit of leftover egg that I'm gonna freeze, and I have leftover cooked sausages cut in half, so they're already ready for me if I want to whip together this again, because I do have leftover biscuits. So I'm gonna give this a try. I microwaved it for 30 seconds. Granted, it's not frozen. So I'm assuming you may want to take it out the night before, so that way then it's almost completely thawed out and microwaving it for 30 seconds would be perfect. And I had a couple pieces of leftover bacon. I'm going to eat those as well, but I'm going to try the sandwich. 30 seconds seemed to do really good at one with it being thawed out. It's nice and warm. I've let it sit underneath the microwave cover for just a little bit, help melt the cheese. So here we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just like the Big M. I want to thank you folks for joining me in this venture of getting some breakfast, freezer breakfasts done for myself and my husband. Mainly my husband because he gets up so early, and I had mentioned that. But anyway, we got a lot done. Earlier in the video, I showed you the egg McMuffin or egg sandwiches with the English muffins, the egg bake, and the egg burritos. And now I did the biscuit sandwich as well. Again, thank you for joining me. If you like this kind of content and you want me to do some more freezer meals, please leave a comment below. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I want you folks to make it a really great day.